Evening all. Now, it's been a while. Maybe not for you, but the past few weeks I haven't filmed much. But I'm here. I'm doing stuff. I'm making things, as promised. Here's episode 2. Now, of course, last time we had this. It's not awful. It's okay. Lights. Stuff. More stuff. Had to make it better. We can't just leave it with that. That's awful. I love making things. And I love sonic screwdrivers. So of course, we're making a new screwdriver. It took me 4 months to make this new one, but it's finally done. So this time I want it to light up. Of course, it has to light up. The last one did, but only slightly. You can't use it as a torch. You can't use it as anything. Just the UV lights. So, of course, need lights. Of course, we want to have the same detection functions as the last two. That being a magnet detector and a live AC voltage detector. But then I thought to myself, because a sonic screwdriver doesn't just detect things, it does things. So I was looking online for things that do things. And I found this. Put picture here. Picture here. Wow, it's so cool. It's called a TVB Gone, spelled like that. And while it's a little wide, it's perfect for something else that it could do. Now, it works the same way, basically the same way a remote does. You see, our remote has a little infrared LED in the top there. Now, we can't see it, but every time we press a button on here, it sends a little code to the television. Sorry, I'm too British. Telling it to do whatever button you've pressed. A TVB Gone works basically the same way. It works. Now you see, that's our telly. That's your telly. Someone's telly. Television. Sorry, no, I'm not apologising for being British. It's called great for a reason. Because we're a great bunch of right bastards. This is your television. Down here, usually right next to where it's got little usually red light, it has an infrared receiver. They're usually black. Infrared transmitter. They're usually more clear, see-through, transparent. Now, the TVB Gone works by sending out a bunch of different codes that on different British and European used brands that all mean off or on. They're both the same button. So let's say we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a bunch of different codes. Within 70 seconds, the TVB Gone sends them all out to the infrared receiver using an infrared transmitter. And within 70 seconds, and hopefully if the brand was programmed in, the television will respond and turn on or off. It might take 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30, depends which one of the codes responds to your telly. Now, for that, we need to have the infrared transmitter on the top of the screwdriver. We need to make sure it isn't blocked by anything. So, we need that at the top. If it isn't, then it won't work properly. But we also want lights. How are we going to have lights if the spot's already been taken by the infrared transmitter? Science, my boy. See, instead of just replacing this with a light, what if we have a light below it? And you might think, but Amelia, it's not at the top. How are we going to see it? Science. I found this flexible tube on Amazon. It's translucent, not transparent. If we put that around them both, take the lead from the infrared LED down, and take the LED down. I'll explain why it's got 4 legs in a second. Instead of just shining out, it'll make this entire bit glow. And while it won't be as good of a torch as you might like, it'll still glow, it'll still light up. But then I think to myself, let's include the UV lights again. We take the tiny UV LEDs, just take them out, put them through, and you got your UV lights as well. They aren't as strong as this LED, so it doesn't light it up properly, but it still works. Now, this LED has 4 legs. It's a tri-cathode LED. You can also get tri-anodes, but you see, an LED has usually 2 legs. We call these the anode, the positive, and the cathode, the negative. You see, this one's the positive. These 3 are the negatives. Anode, cathodes. And each of them, when you make a circuit with either the positive and the far right negative, you get blue. If you do the same with this leg, green. And on the far left, red. This is an RGB LED, which means we can use this one LED to show several different things working. You see, on the original, you press the second button, it detects magnets. With a white LED that's down there, while you press the far right button, it detects live AC voltage, but it's also very sensitive. But the LED's on the outside, and it's blue. Instead of having to wire two separate LEDs in two separate places, taking up amounts of space, we use one LED of the same size that does 3 different colours. Isn't that cool? For the best light, I think we should go blue, because it's the brightest light, so it's better to use as a torch. Use that as the blue. The magnet detector, I think we should switch from white and use the green one. Because live AC voltage, the third thing, see, that's bad. You don't want to touch that, so it should be red. And also, magnets are wonderful. Of course they should be green. You can wire them all through this. Oh, watch out, friends, we can have screwdrivers. So, now that we have what we wanted to do and how we want it to do, we have to draw a circuit. I love this bit. We have the emitter section here, and we're going to need a new page for this. So what we're going to be doing is having regular LED symbol with 1, 2, 3, 4. Red, green, blue, positive, negative, negative, negative. Now, start easiest first. Green one, need a reed switch, which work by watching my first video where I explain it there. Please subscribe. Red is the live AC voltage circuit. Blue is just the light, so all we need to do is just take that from there, and that's it. Now, the live AC voltage circuit is where it gets a bit tricky, because I'll show the circuit from the original design here, but it needs to connect to the positive as well as the negative, which may not sound difficult, and maybe isn't difficult, and it was to me. So we have the coil, which connects to 3 transistors. Maybe don't like the video, but subscribe. Which connects to 1 transistor, which connects to a second transistor, which then connects to a third transistor, which then connects to... that's it. We connect these 2 here, and that's the positive, which needs to go all the way around to here. That's not very straight. Because we like it gay here! The LGBTQ! We like that here. We're like a whole... we're like a couple of letters here already. Yes, that goes there. But this is the negative, which goes to wherever we take the rest of this stuff. A lot simpler than I expected it to be. Ha. Turns out I am just an idiot that needs reference. Now, at first I wanted sound, and I really wanted to include it. I'll show you what I bought. I bought this, which was a Wave 3 or 4 11th Doctor sonic screwdriver. It doesn't extend, it just lights up and makes sound. So, like your mother last night, I opened it up and had a fiddle about with the bits inside. Now, the only thing left in here is the LED, which is still just green, because we didn't need it. We just needed the sound. But, in my idiocy, I didn't want to have to fiddle about with the battery in a way that might ruin it. So, I took out the batteries from here and tried to put all that into a Sonic, which, with all the other stuff I had in it, didn't fit. But by the time I had nearly made it fit, the solder connections for the Sonic had worn down from me soldering in, soldering out, soldering in, soldering it out. So until I can fix that, or buy a new old Sonic for really cheap, I can't do anything for sound, so it's not really Sonic if there's no sound. Play the clip. No, it's a sonic screwdriver. Sonic equals sound. But alas, we are just calling them screwdrivers. Anyway, what else did we have? We have the 2 UV LEDs, which we have them in parallel, because if they're in series, they get dimmer. If they're in parallel, as long as the battery is charged, they stay at exactly the same brightness throughout the time they're being used. So we have the negative and a second positive. Now, the TVB gone, which is going to represent that as a square, with the, I'm assuming, looks the exact same LED, even though it probably doesn't, because it doesn't give off light. It gives off infrared light, which we can't see. But I've drawn it in already, so I'm going to keep it. Now, this came with a... I'll show you. I'll put an image here. It has a little button on it. That's what you press to make it work when you haven't taken it apart and put it in a screwdriver. I shoved wires under the pins for those buttons, soldered them in, and I thought that if I connected it to all this with a battery that will be down here, that it would overload the circuit and break things. So I thought, let's put a relay in. How do relays work again? Oh yeah. Now, a relay works if you have a battery here, let's say. This magnet, this tiny little magnet in here, an electromagnet, it turns on and pulls this little pin onto this contact, this little circle here, which will complete this circuit. I had to add in a second battery because I'd sawn off part of the TV Be Gone because it wouldn't fit. If you look again at the image, I'll have it here. Half of the TV Be Gone is taken up by two batteries, two little coin cell batteries. So I sawed them off and connected them up some stuff with wires. So I had to have a little second battery out of the circuit board itself so that when this closed, this would actually work. Would you like another reason of why I'm an idiot? We don't need any of this. What we need is to just connect it up to the battery. See, what we do is we get this wonderful, lovely, sexy component called a rotary switch. Not to be confused with a rotary encoder, a rotary switch works by... That scared the life out of me. So a rotary switch, we had 8 contacts, works that when you put one end of the circuit in here, you can branch off a bunch of different circuits that all connect to the same thing, but this, you can turn it. It looks like a potentiometer. I don't have any to show you, but when you turn it, it switches, connecting these two, to 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 these two. It's like the Executor class Super Star Destroyer in that it is better than sex. Now, the lithium polymer battery connected to the battery charging circuit, connected the negative to the main you can connect all these circuits to, is called the pole. Now, what I didn't want to have to connect my battery to this because I was still convinced it would break, which I'm pretty sure it might. So instead, I took one off here, connected it to the button here, took the second, and instead of connecting it to a battery, just connected it up here. As this positive never connects to this at all it does is whenever you turn it, so this connects to this, the only thing that happens is that these two are connected. They flow through each other. Of course, I'm an idiot again, so when these two connect, we've connected these wires under the two poles of the switch. See, I'll indicate that by doing this. See, the switch is never activated. The switch always stays off. Oh no, we don't connect the battery there then. No, connect the battery out here. I am so intelligent. So intelligent. So, whenever these all connect, this switch doesn't matter if it's on or off. But that also means that if we do use another switch, which we're going to actually, turn it on, because we turn the settings, we don't want the setting dial to actually turn things on, but we have this, because I've learned after use, you have to hold it for 6 seconds before it actually works. I don't think it's like that with all of them, but I think it's just because I've been meddling with them so much. So, we take our positive right over here, and once again, it's all a bit bent, but we connect the positives to the positives. Then we can connect all of these negatives, and it's more or less complete. That took a lot shorter of a time than I thought it might. And instead of last time, where they're all just connected one at a time, this is all one circuit that you can just switch them between. You switch between all the settings, and I really like that. Oh wait, I need to design. Now with the last one, we went for more 8th Doctor sort of stuff. So I thought, let's just continue on with that. The next Doctor's along. Now, in real life, the next screwdriver that was made was the 9th Doctor's, as you would think, 8, 9. But chronologically in the show, the next one was the War Doctor's. I'll show you here. You see, it has a light at the top. It's activated by pulling down the collar. And it's got little fairs on the bottom. So this is our top emitter. This is the plastic covering. This is the infrared LED. See, we put it in a copper pipe, and I made this bit wider with tape. Now, if you see on the actual one, it's got a little collar in the middle. That's to help pull it down. We didn't need it. You see, on the actual screwdriver, I'll draw it now. This little thing with the 3 rings on it, it's wider than the rest of it. We used that as the little activation collar. In mine, on the last screwdriver, we cut open a few like toilet roll holder things to make the body and to use for the spring. I cut off the tops of one of them and used it as the collar. Under that, I have a really cool switch. This switch, little tiny little button in there, but works when this is pushed down. It pushes down on this tiny button. But that means you can put weight on this. It can be used as it can be used all sorts of things. It's used in 3D printers. It's used in 3D printers. We don't even need a spring for that because this is pushed up itself anyway. And as long as there isn't any like proper friction here, then there's enough room for it to just push back up. See, on the War Doctor Sonic screwdriver, you then have a handle. Let's call it the handle. On ours, it's quite a bit wider than the rest of it. On mine, there's a bunch of hot glue around here. There's the handle. Inside it, you got the PCB, printed circuit board, the battery that's huge and only just fits in it. Got the really big circuit that I made for the live AC voltage. Ooh, also, let's just keep this here. Let's just add all this in. I added the reed switch into the body. For the live AC voltage one, I went all the way up here and connected the wire to the actual copper pipe. The body of this one works as the inductor. If you're not bored yet, please subscribe. And at the bottom here, we have our rotary switch, which looks a little like the little fez on the bottom, but also at the bottom I did include the charging bit. So of course it can be charged. And that's kind of it. So, here is Mark II. Now, let's run down with what isn't good about it. This just goes all the way up and down, which isn't exactly a problem, but it's a little annoying. Also, this is really wobbly, because the only thing keeping it in place is hot glue and pressure. It's okay, apart from the hot glue, I really like this one. It's a lot better. If you look at the last one, it's actually slightly bigger. It's a lot less embarrassing to say, look, I made a screwdriver. You want to see it? Now, you got the rotary switch on the bottom. Now, if you turn it... Oh, wait, no. If you turn it once to the right, let's say you're right, then that's the UV lights. They're not that bright, and they sometimes go off. They still work. They're not extremely bright, but... The next one, the live AC voltage detector. It glows red. Here's a bit of that. One more, and it detects magnets. Glows a nice green. I like that green. If we go back a few, turn it to the left for 6 seconds, then turn it back. Does this. Now your turn, voices in my head. What do you think?
It's better than the old one, but in my opinion, it needs the cover over it. Yeah. It does look like a screwdriver this time, which is a surprise.
Don't know why he wasn't wearing a shirt. I mean, yeah, okay. I don't think it made it look better. Well, I get what you mean, but I like the it hasn't worked here, but I like the clean metallic sort of feel. Of course, if we put it on charge, due to how the circuit board was made, it glows red, which is kind of annoying when you charge it at night. Come on then, second voice, what do you think?
Girl, wait, wonky. That shit kinda gay.
Touche. I'll guess touche to that. So, once again, I really like this. But I know some of you won't. So in about a month's time, how about I make a new one? A better one. A better design. It does more things. Maybe easier to carry around. Maybe less likely to break just by holding it wrong. Until then, now here's some of the designs for the screwdriver. And other things I've drawn to do with this. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.